Hey friends. I don't know why I'm so like giggly and like nervous. I feel like I'm going on my first date, right? Like you're going on your first date with people, like getting to know who you are. Yeah, so please let me know when you are coming on. Hi Amanda, and where you're coming on from. Hi Lynn. So my name is Chanel and I am from California. Right now it is about like 9:05 my time. So hi everybody. Hi Krista. Hi Christy. Hi Pat. So I'm going to give you guys about a minute to hop on. I know I'm going to talk a lot tonight. I'm not going to give my whole story tonight because it is a lot. And I also want to be able to give you guys time because this is my story, but I also want, if you guys have questions or if you're not really understanding something, or if you know, I'm an open book. Hi, William, Salisbury, North Carolina. It's 12. Wow. Thank you for coming on, William. I mean, wow. I appreciate that. That does mean a lot. So I'm going to make sure that I stay hydrated. So give me just 1 second because I know that I'm going to need to take a break. I already know. I've been preparing for this all day, you guys, and I'm really happy and excited that that you guys are here with me. So hi Diane, hi Marissa. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and get started. Let me take a quick drink. I get cotton mouthy when I get nervous. That's just a little, I don't know, public speaking. I like doing public speaking, but I get nervous, so I have to drink. I have to drink a lot. So give me 1 second. Okay. So hi Shelby, hi Natalie. And I want you guys to know that if you want to, excuse me, sorry, I'm like nervous. If you want to share this with people, you are more than welcome. If you want to talk to people and if they want to reach out to me, please let them know. Hi Natalie, that I am more than welcome or more than open to talking to them. So this is not something that I'm ashamed or embarrassed to talk about. This is something that I feel like I just need to start giving awareness to people about it. So my story and the topic of what I'm going to talk tonight. And so I'm basically going to do a series of this. Like I said, there's a lot that has gone on in 33 years of my life, and never thought that maybe, you know, the things that I have been through could potentially help other people. But when I was younger, I actually got involved in speaking with adoption classes and kind of giving some insight to parents. And I was still young though. I didn't really understand the impact that it could have potentially on children that they were adopting, children that came from foster care. And I think also emotionally, I just was not there yet. Even at the age of 22, 23, I still was not there. So I'm going to start from the beginning of my life and then we're going to go through it and, you know, within the next few weeks. And like I said, if you guys have questions or anything, please feel free to ask. In the meantime, I will take breaks. If we get emotional together, we get emotional together. This is something that is very, very personal, very, it's not scary, but it's just something that I just have been feeling on my heart to do. So, many of you guys know my name is Chanel and my story is stemming from foster care to adoption to now being a mother. And what has happened in my life is not the norm. Many people that see my Facebook, that see my life now as an adult, you know, how I'm always happy-go-lucky, I'm involved, I'm an entrepreneur, I have a full-time job, I'm a mom, I'm married. These things that I have been able to accomplish in my life did not come easy to me, but these were goals that I had set. So back when I was younger, I was born... I'm like already gonna get emotional. Okay. Sorry. not even a minute in. Okay. My biological mother, I do not call her my mom. I call her someone who just was able to give me life. And I'm very thankful for this because of the fact, the woman that she is, she was a drug addict and a prostitute. And I live in a city called Bakersfield. And the streets that are known for prostitution is Union Avenue. There's little motels down there, and if you live in Bakersfield, you guys all know. So, side note, I get extreme anxiety if I have to go down on Union Avenue just because it just is triggers for me. So, the woman that gave birth to me was a drug addict. She was addicted to cocaine and a prostitute. My biological father, and I'm not going to give names because this is what is really scary to me is, you know, opening this door that I've had shut for so long. I don't want something to happen. I want to be able to do this on my own terms, if that makes sense. So I'm not going to disclose any names because I have been able to find out the names of these people. But, so my biological father was a one-night stand, and I wasn't supposed to, per se, be created. God obviously had other intentions. Thank you, Krista. I almost just said her name. She did not realize, I guess, that she was pregnant with me. Obviously, when you're in a drug addiction and you're a prostitute, obviously your mind is not in the right place of, I'm pregnant, I need to be taking care of a baby. A little bit of a backstory of her is she's had about 16 different abortions. It's really hard for me to say that because of the fact that I have issues getting pregnant. And I have about 8 or 9 different brothers and sisters, stepbrothers, sisters. So I was number 4. And when I was born addicted to cocaine. So I came out as one of those babies that are shaking. So they had to do things to me to help me live and survive. And she wasn't in her right state of mind when I was born, obviously. And the person that she put as my father on this birth certificate was not. It was a boyfriend at the time that just so happened to be there, basically. So you can imagine, you know, the older that you get and you're finding this stuff out and you're realizing the people that you had thought, you know, literally nothing. So anyways, I was born, and for some reason she was able to keep me as a baby. And I had a older brother and a sister that came, and they lived halfway across the country, clearly, obviously, to another dad. So the dad had the custody rights to them. And then there was me, and some of the memories I'm going to share with you guys, just some of the things that I was exposed to just because of coming from that. And if there's any children that have been, which I know that there is, but if you are parents and you are a foster parent, and maybe you have a hard time connecting or, you know, bumping heads with your child, it's just, there's reasons behind that because of maybe what they've been exposed to. So, some of the memories that I have is, we used to hop from hotel to hotel because, she couldn't pay the fee, if she clearly didn't work. There was about like a group of women that were there, and she would leave me with random women, and be gone for days on end on a binge, and no one could get a hold of her. Cell phones were not invented during that time. Obviously, we had payphones. So she would leave, and she would say, oh, you know, I'll be back tomorrow. I'll be back later on this afternoon. she wouldn't come back. And then, you know, one woman would have to go to work, so I'd go to a random stranger. Another lady who had kids, I would end up staying with her. So you can imagine being, you know, 3 years old at this time. And let me tell you, being 3 years old and being able to remember things like this, you don't, like, it stays with you. You don't realize that it can scar you, but it does scar you. And it stays with you throughout your whole life. And you, when you become a parent, you're like, how could a woman do that? So anyways, so I'm about 3.5. She gets pregnant again, ends up keeping this little boy, has the little boy, and still in the same mindset, still drug addiction, still prostituting. And it would get to the point where she would leave this baby with me, and I had to grow up really quick at the age of 4 years old. Okay, he was like a year old, I was 4, and she would be gone. And I had to learn really quickly of how survival skills. So survival is, you know, making sure that you're in a hotel room in a very not safe area where there's drugs, there's crime, I'm surprised of kidnapping. Like, there's so much stuff that goes on. And I had to learn, when she would leave for days on end, that I would go down to a convenience store. And if anybody knows Union Avenue, there's this one little convenience store, and it has 3 little steps. Let me tell you, 4 years old, you guys, I'm remembering this. 3 little steps. I would have my 1-year-old little brother in like a stroller. I'd be pushing him. And I would have to beg for money because she would be gone. And what we lived on carrots and salt, and we lived on Top Ramen and candy. Obviously, I'm 4 years old. I'm going to want candy. And we would get soda, like 7-Up, and we would put soda in a bottle, and that's how I would feed my little brother, because clearly he couldn't eat, so he would have 7-Up in a bottle. That's how I bottle fed him. And so we would walk down to the convenience store, we would buy food, then we would come back. And there were times where, you know, like police officers would come through, and, you know, she would all of a sudden show up. Like, I don't know how, but she like knew, like, oh, there's police officers there. And there was a specific time where she told me, and she grabbed me, and she was like, listen, Chanel, you go down there and you take out the trash. You do not look at them, and you do not act like anything is wrong. And I just remember thinking to myself, like, what is wrong? Because you're thinking this is the norm, right? So the police officers actually, you know, kind of drove past me, and they looked thinking, like, I'm sure in their head, they're like, what is this little girl doing emptying the trash? But then, like, I just kind of ran back up to the room, whatever, no big deal. So there was many things that I was exposed to. You know, like, there would be nights where she would bring people back to the room because she was working, and my little brother and I had to sleep on the floor. And, you know, we would hear things, we would see things. And I just remember, like, covering my little brother's ears, because I didn't want him to see that. And it was like a protector. I became a mom. And I just remember just thinking to myself, like why, I guess. Why is it that, like, why does this have to happen? Or why would she rather be hanging out with them than hanging out with us? And it makes you really independent, and just realize that you only have yourself to deal with. Or, I'm sorry, you only have yourself to depend on. So a lot of that I was exposed to at a very young age stayed with me throughout my childhood, and went with me, and is still with me as far as being very independent. At the age of 4.5, she took me to my aunt's house and dropped me off at my aunt's house, kept my little brother. and said, you know, I'll be back in like a few days. And me, I'm like, oh my gosh, I get to stay with my aunt. She lives in Long Beach, like, you know, being a little girl. And like, my aunt has a house, she has a car, there's food. Like, I was so excited, right? And so she leaves me at my aunt's house, and of course I'm like, oh, like, you know, to my little brother, sorry, I gotta take a drink, you guys. You know, to my little brother, I'm like, oh, I'll see you, you know, and I would call, and, you know, she said, I'll be back in a few days. I'm like, okay. Well, a few days turned into a week. My aunt couldn't get a hold of her. And, my little brother's dad ended up taking him. I'm assuming they broke up or something, who knows. And so it turned into weeks, and then it turned into months, and my aunt had diabetes at the time. And if you guys, diabetes, the technology, and, you know, like the way that they handle things back then versus now, completely different, right? Different times. My aunt, you know, it turned into, so it went from days to weeks to months. I think it was almost a year, you guys. My aunt took in this little girl, and her health-wise, like, she was not healthy at all to be able to take care of me. But, you know, she was doing the best she could. She was giving me the best life that she could, just because she had known the things that I had been exposed to and the things that I had seen, and taking care of my little brother. She knew, she was like, you know, I just need to, yeah. Sorry, my husband just asked me a quick question. Anyway, so I remember it clear as day, and it sounds so cheesy, but it really did happen. So, it was raining, like a rainy night, and my aunt told me, like, I remember that day, it was weird. Like, we went and took pictures, like glamour shots. We did our hair all curly. We wore like these big white sweatshirts, and, we took pictures together, and it was just like, it was like a mom-daughter day. And she was like, I just want you to know, like, I love you. You know, like, you're the best thing that's ever happened to me. And I just remember, like, thinking, like, oh, like, I love you too. But it was like, it was a different vibe. So we went to sleep, and then it was like raining one night, and it was like pouring down rain. And then all of a sudden, like, I'm asleep thinking I'm going to go to school the next day, because I had started school in Long Beach. And, there's a knock on the door. It's like, not a knock, it's like basically like banging, like bang, 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 bang. And, all of a sudden you see like 2 police officers and 2 like other people dressed in suits come rushing in, packing all my stuff, and literally just take me out, like not like I'm in in a fire, like I'm in a fire in a house, and they're just whisking me away. And they put me in the back of this car. And I remember looking out, and I'm crying, and I'm like, you know, asking my aunt, like, what happened? What did I do wrong? Like, what do I need? You know, like, why am I leaving? Why are they taking me? You know, I love you. I'm sorry. Like, just like all kids do. Because I'm not understanding. We just had the best day ever. Like, if I did something wrong, like, I'll do something, you know, I'm sorry. Like, I'll be good tomorrow. So I'm sitting in the back of the car, and, you know, these people, and my aunt is like telling me, she's like yelling at me, like, I love you. I want you to know I love you so much. I'm so sorry. I love you. I love you. I love you. And nobody is telling me anything. And I'm 5 years old. I'm like, at this point, mind you, from 3 to 5, I grew up pretty quickly. So it's like, I felt like I deserved that. I needed to have somebody tell me what was going on. Like, why am I being taken away? And, no, and they wouldn't say anything. They're like, oh, we're just, you know, we're going to go to a place that's safe for you. And I'm thinking to myself, I am safe. I'm at my aunt's house. Well, obviously I didn't really realize, but her health had been deteriorating. And I guess that her husband had been going through some mental, health issues. And so she was deeming it like she was for my own safety. She wanted to take care of me, to make sure that, you know, God forbid something, you know, if he did something, or if she didn't wake up, that I wasn't exposed to more traumatic issues, which I didn't know. I didn't know any of this, right? So I get taken to this place called the Children's Center in Long Beach, and they book me. I just remember thinking like I'm like going to jail in a weird sense. And the place, it's raining, you guys, okay? Let me tell you. And there, I did not realize how many kids. And I'm thinking I'm going to go home to my mom. Like, it's okay. My mom's going to find out. She's going to come get me tomorrow. She's going to understand. It's okay. And, you know, I was talking to the caseworker at the time, and she was trying to calm me down because I'm like hysterically crying because I'm not understanding. I'm in this weird place, unknown place. I have, you know, my little teddy bear and a suitcase with me, and and there was a, I guess you could say, what do we call them? Like a guardian or a watch person for the night, counselor. It was a counselor, excuse me. And she's up, and they had ordered KFC. They got KFC, and there was a bucket of chicken on the counter. And this place was overflowed with children, you guys. Like, no lie. There was cots out in the big area. They called it like the rec room, the living room area. All of the rooms that had regular beds were literally, it was like they were just lined up. Yes, when you think of orphanage and how that is in movies, that's how it was. And there's literally no room for me. So they were trying to figure out a cot situation. Now it's like 3 o'clock in the morning. It's still raining. The power was out. So it was kind of like they were using flashlights. It was a whole thing. I ended up having to sleep on the counter where the bucket of chicken was, and they got me a blanket, and they were like, you know what? And I'm like, where's my mom? Where's my mom? All I was asking for was my mom at that time. I called her my mom that time. And they were like, you know, we'll try to call her in the morning. It's just too late right now, you know. So I had all my stuff, and I'm just laying there, and I'm trying to go to sleep, and I'm just crying, and I'm asking the counselor, I'm like, why did they take me away from my aunt? I want my aunt. I want to call my aunt. And I couldn't because they said that she wasn't my mom, and nobody knew that I was staying with my aunt. So to me, it was kind of like they were almost treating it like I was like a kidnapped child, but I really wasn't. My biological mother just basically dropped me off and was like, bye. So anyway, so I woke up in the morning, and like still just like, what the heck is going on? You see all of these kids, and these kids are ranging from the age of like 6 months old to, I don't know, 10, 12. Like, there's a lot of kids out there, you guys, that, and so I woke up in the morning. Nobody can get a hold of her. Then I get this caseworker that comes in, is asking me all of these questions, and I'm like, I don't know. And you have to remember, previously, I was told by my biological mother, like, to not disclose, like, information. It's like, you know, you tell them this and you tell them that, and that is it. And I was scared. I didn't want to, I just got pulled away from my aunt, so I didn't want to upset my mom and then not be able to go home with my mom. So then, like, nobody could get a hold of her. And, like, I'm there, like, for, like, almost a month. And, you know, Christmas comes. I have no presents. And, you know, it was really sweet. And this is the reason why during Christmas time and stuff that I want to give to Jameson Center, is because I didn't have presents, and I didn't have my family, I didn't have anybody, and there was this group of kids that came in, and there was one nice girl that came up to me, and I was literally sitting in the corner by myself crying because I didn't have my mom, I didn't have my aunt, I couldn't call anybody, I didn't have my brother. And she came over with a present, and she was like trying to make conversation with me, you know, now looking back at it. And she was like, hi, what's your name? And I told her Chanel, and she's like, hey, she's like, I just want to let you know Santa bought you a present. And I was like, really? She's like, yeah, you were a good little girl this year. And I was like, really? And she gave me the present, and it was a Barbie doll head, and it had the makeup brushes, and she had like blonde hair, and she had the necklace. And I seriously am not even lying. That was one of the presents that I had asked my aunt for Christmas, because like I was into Barbies and, you know, doing makeup. Like I love like making like her, like I just want to make her pretty. And so I got that present, and I was so happy. I was the happiest girl in the world. And then I was still hoping that I could get a hold of my mom, you know, or my aunt. And then I had a caseworker come in. She said, hey, you have a phone call. So I go up to the stair area, and someone had a Barbie that they let me play with, and it had the little roller blades, and you would go like that and it would spark. And so I was like playing with it, and I'm on the phone, and it was my aunt. I was finally able to talk to my aunt, and she was just like, Merry Christmas, honey. I love you. I just want you to know I'm sorry. I'm doing everything that I can. And she's like, you know, you didn't do anything wrong. And I remember I was so, like, I was gleaming. I was so happy to hear that I didn't do anything wrong and that she was trying to get me back. And it wasn't about my biological mother at that point. And I had asked about her. I said, you know, where is she? What's going on? And she said, you know, like, she's just not good. And she's trying to go to rehab. And rehab at the age of 5, you don't understand what rehab is. And I asked about my little brother. And they said, you know, he's with his dad. And we're trying everything that we can. And so I said, okay. She's like, you know, Merry Christmas. I love you. I'll try to come see you. And then I got done with that. And I came downstairs, and it was like, it's almost kind of like reality set in for me. Like, okay, like I'm on my own. Like I'm basically on my own at this point. And so, you know, I got to keep the Barbie doll head, and we all had lunch, and, you know, the kids' parents or whoever, everybody left. And, you know, I'm like friends with all of the counselors at this point, because I'm the only one who doesn't have family. And so, you know, I'm sitting there, and I just remember just telling myself, it's okay. It's going to be okay. Like I almost in a sense like got hardened and was like, I didn't care about my biological mom anymore. Like it was like, I already knew that it was no longer, like there was no saving me at that point. I felt like I was just a lost cause. But when my aunt had called me and told me that they were doing everything they could to get me back, and that she loved me, and that she's going to try to come see me. And then when that girl gave me that Barbie head, like that is why I care so much about people, because being 5 years old, you know, and being alone, doesn't matter how old you are, people are going through things. And, you know, you could be that one person just by saying hi or helping them with something or giving them something that could literally change their whole day or could change their life or their outlook on stuff. So with that, I know this is a lot, and this is just kind of the tip of the iceberg, but I wanted to share just a little bit of that first part of my life and things that I was going through and what had kind of started to shape me into the person that I've become today. And also I wanted to share just a little bit of that information because of the fact foster parents at times don't really understand that, yes, they're giving so much love to these kids, and they're not understanding why this kid is not accepting the love. But the things that they've been through, like myself, from being, you know, in a drug addiction, a prostitute parent, and lifestyle, hopping from hotel to motel, not talking to cops, like only being told of what certain things to say, to taking care of a brother, to begging for food, not knowing if you're going to have food, to begging for money at the age of 4, to then getting put into a children's center, to being told no information, to not knowing who is going to come and rescue you or save you. this is why it's hard for many foster kids to be able to communicate and to have emotions on a deeper level or to feel safe and secure, because they are not sure if this is really going to stay or not, because they've been already exposed and traumatized through different events in a very, very short amount of time in their life. So I think that that's enough crying for tonight. And then I do plan on, I'm going to talk to you guys about some additional things that have happened afterwards, but, oh my gosh, I can't believe all of that. You guys are so sweet. Let me look at, I want to answer some questions because I know that I kind of just started talking and I didn't really help answer. Thank you, Tressa. Thank you, Rochelle. Hi, Jean. Obviously has a God plan. Obviously God has a plan, even though you maybe didn't know it. Victoria, I do feel like that is why I was able to survive a lot of this, just because of the fact that a lot of people, you know, that come from that have experienced that don't really have the opportunity to be able to turn their life around in a way. So I think that a lot of people aren't able to share their success stories that have been through this. So thank you. I do appreciate that. Nicole, thank you. You can give me a virtual hug, sister. I will definitely take a virtual hug. I'm good. I'm just tapping on things, and this is what you guys have to understand too. I don't talk about my past a lot because of the fact it's opening up doors that I feel like that I've closed, and emotionally wise, like it just, now being a mom, it just makes me even more emotional, because I would never do things like that to my kid. But, you know, I'm also not addicted to drugs, and I have a different lifestyle. Thank you for sharing, Whitney. You have overcome and are breaking the cycle. Thank you, Whitney. I do appreciate that. I didn't know this. My heart is seriously hurting for you. I love you so much for sharing. Thank you, Nicole. Tressa, love that you're being so vulnerable. It's so healing. Wow. Thank you. Thank you, girl. Christy, I always knew you're amazing. Thank you, everybody. I really do appreciate all of the love. You never know what someone is going through. Absolutely, Chanel. This is why I love you. Keep it real. Give the best advice. Stay strong. I am staying strong, Irene. You know me, boo. I so didn't know this. You overcame, and look at you now. Lauren, oh, thank you. Whitney, thank you so much. My heart goes out to you, the amazing women. Thank you. I want to hear what happened next. You need a Netflix show. I know someone, you know, I'm going to try to, you know, liven this up a little bit, but somebody did reach out to me today, and they're like, you know what, Chanel, you should do a memoir or something like that, but do your own twist on it. And so when I've done public speaking in the past, you know, when I would start crying, I would try, and that's how I kind of, not mask my feelings, but try to overcome the sadness feeling, is by like cracking a joke. And when I get really nervous, this is what I do. So, Netflix would be awesome. So, you know, hit Netflix. Tressa, I was considering writing a book. I honestly told Seth that last night. I was like, you know, I don't know if I should write a book or do like an Audible or something, but my whole plan is I want to public speak again. I want to talk to parents that are in our foster care parents or adoption parents. I want to show them that, you know, going through all of these traumatic events in my life doesn't mean that I'm going to end up the same way. And when we start going a little bit further into my story and things that have been told and things that have gone on, you guys will understand exactly why I am the person I am even more, because of things that I was told and things that, it was almost kind of like I became, remember it, I knew that instant that I was on my own. It also molded me into the person that if you tell me I'm going to do something or not going to do something, I'm going to do everything in my power to prove you wrong. And the things that I've been through, that's what I'm going to share with you guys. So, yeah, your story is so inspiring. I plan to let my oldest hear it tomorrow. I want to see another. Rochelle, thank you so much. I know, happy birthday. By the way, thank you. So yes, so I will touch base with you guys in the next few days, and we will continue this story. I know it's already been kind of long, and some of you guys have been staying up. It's already midnight or 1 a.m. So I do appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. And again, if you guys have any questions that you didn't feel comfortable with asking in the comments, please feel free to private message me. You know, or if you know someone who is struggling, who maybe has been through, you know, some in foster care, or just has had drug-related parents or prostitution that's been involved in their life at a very young age, been exposed to it. Maybe they feel like they're alone. Let them know that they are not alone, that there are other people out there. And I am someone who absolutely will share and be a mentor, or just give advice, or just kind of help direct them, like, hey, you got this, you know? So anyways, I am going to sign off for the night, and I look forward to sharing my next my next chapter. We'll call it chapters, and we'll talk then. So have a good night, you guys.